Beer bottle metaphor. I could describe my early life like I was growing up in a beer bottle. Cue the SpongeBob voice. Who lives in a beer bottle inside of the fridge? La lo lerma. It wasn't good for our health, but it was a cool place to be. My parents drank. We'd go to parties with alcohol and yelling and laughing, people dancing, people passing out and being loved and laughed at. As little kids, we would draw smiley faces and play tic-tac-toe on them. Maybe draw a pito here and there. We would steal like $20 from purses, even my grandma's. My grandma, who would buy me an action figure on payday and who I loved the most in the whole world. Nobody would ever even know. There were loud drunk people problems on many, if not most nights, but nothing my parents wouldn't dismiss as borracheras. Someone being a stupid ass I didn't have to worry about. My beer bottle life shattered when some god or some minor trickster character threw my family across the dance floor and it busted into 1,000 pieces. Beer splattered on feet and on shitty rugs. A supposed family member friend touched my sister. He did more than that. And then my dad defended him, saying that that couldn't have happened. And then my mom, who was remixing her own traumas, fought his sister. And then my dad, the son of a drunk, changed his mind and one day broke a for real bottle and stabbed that motherfucker in his stomach an unconscious amount of times, slicing up his own middle finger, the one he'd show a public defender someday. And just like that, our apartment wasn't ours no more. It was now some kids from our old bus stop. My mom blamed my older brother and me for not watching our sister. And my sister poked her nose till it bled every hour. My grandma's pad de siempre, her apartment of always, was home until Section 8 found out and made us leave. Sad kid refugees. Infected scab metaphor. My middle school life was like living in an infected scab, like the one in my sister's nose. It would be bad and painful, and then poke, sliced open, nasty blood bleeding, over and over again. During this time, my brother once punched me in the nose because I ate the red and pink starburst he decided were his and his only. When I came forward to shove or bite or smack or something, he pushed me to the floor and kicked the shit out of my stomach and hip and back. Told me I was lucky he didn't kick my balls in. Then, an hour later, probably thinking about the consequences, he said we'd tell my mother it was some Southsider. Mom showed up drunk and said, "Let's find that piece of shit." So we drove until I pointed out some random kid in blue and my brother kicked his ass too. Problem was, that kid was a legit Southsider, which caused a shitstorm for Big Brother the next 3 years. My carnal went from wannabe to Northsider. I would sometimes roll with his clique, but not claim. A wannabe or something, I guess. What's more, my mom's boyfriend fucked my aunt and got her pregnant. Grandma was mad at my tia for culeando, but got extra pissed at all the shit my mom was saying and smashing. So we didn't go to Christmas at her pad de siempre that year. 0 tamales, 0 capirotada. It sucked because I legit loved my grandma. Our Buick got stolen and stripped that year, and some teacher called me nothing but a fuck up when I got caught throwing kids' backpacks on the school roof. I started stealing that year too and got busted by the cops. Only my grandma showed up to court. I got put on probation with threats of juvie, but we at least got Burger King after. She said she loved me and was sorry my mother was a desgraciada, aka a piece of shit. Snow globe metaphor. Junior year of high school was like an innocent and sweet snow globe. Minervaville High School kicked my ass out that year, and I got sent to an alternative high school, Renacimiento. And that's where I met Maria Elena. Angel Cupid or St. Richie Valens could tell you, man, I was straight up in love. She didn't belong there at that school. She cut class too much, I guess, and when the school called her house, she got into her parents' shitty flip phones and blocked the school number, sleeping in and staying home all day. But, like, I swear, she wasn't like most of the kids. She low-key had anxiety and got flustered by scuffles and loud-mouthed mamadas. Her 2 front teeth were a little jacked up, so she'd cover them with her hands when she smiled. She was super pretty, gave the gangsters no play. She said she noticed me when I held the door for the fat front office lady, respected me because I didn't always chill with the cholos or smokers, and started liking me when I low-key participated in class, thinking I was cute and shit. Not that there were like lots of options or anything there. A class of 30 stuck in class all day, so I became studly, I guess. Her and my grandma would wave at each other during pickups. My life was kind of fucked. It was always winter, but she shook up my world every time I saw her, every time I thought of her. There were little pieces of slow-mo snow in the air, Snapchat filters, and picturesque horizons behind us. Magical stardust everywhere. I finally understood love songs and would play her jams over and over. Destiny's Child, Aaliyah, even her parents' Paisa jam she liked. Jose Jose, Juan Gabriel, anything that was her or her herness. And so, when my dad came back into the picture and fucked things up, solution? Maria Elena. My mom going to the hospital for alcohol poisoning again. Maria Elena. My brother getting sent away for stabbing some fool. Maria Elena. My sister dating some way older homeboy from around the way. Maria Elena. It was always Maria Elena. The love song angel in my snow globe. Like my brother's oldie playlist, the freaking flamingos. I only have eyes for tu, chica. Me singing and praying for her before bed. Shit was too much, ese. Pulsating zit metaphor. Graduation day was when the snow globe became a pulsating zit, and her parents remixed those songs real quick. My fantasy of marrying that girl shot out like pus against a mirror, and in their eyes, I saw myself and my scraggly alley cat ass looking family. Because, like, for real, it wasn't just alcohol with my mom. She was used since the good old days, kind of looked purple. My mom and grandma hated my dad, whose bum ass actually showed up. And my sister and cousins had all that crazy Sharpie eyeliner chola shit on. Even the way they supported me when my name was called, it was low class, worst of America, cholo shit in the inflamed eyes of her paisa ass dad. She introduced him to me, and then I introduced my family to him, and he was like, no, hija, con este no. His cowboy ass couldn't corral his family and leave that ceremony fast enough. Jamás de los jamases, he'd yell out at her and her mom that night while I listened from the other side of the phone. A Romeo meteor fast losing his shine. But I got her to sneak out of her house that night, right? And for real, I thought it was going down. The sweetheartest ass slapping known to man. I had my grandma's Ford Taurus, Aquavelva aftershave, a condom, my round table pizza gift certificate. But nah. Shit, 1,000 jackoffs years later say it did go down. But nah, bro. She wanted to say goodbye. The only good girl in Renacimiento High School. For better or worse. She could never dream of living with me and my family at my grandma's pad de siempre. Never leave her parents and little sisters like that. She gave me a tear-filled kiss on my cheek and then walked away. They straight up moved to Idaho on some pimply-ass Napoleon Dynamite type shit. Mold bubble metaphor. After that, my life was like living in a mold bubble. I was back in the fridge. One I now knew was shoddy and only clean when bleached lifeless. Days poofishly turned into years. Our couch, our clothes, and our cobijas smelled like mold and must and mites, dashed with drippy beer recycles and weed resin. I had enrolled in junior college like Maria Elena and I had talked about, but dropped a month in when things got hard. I became a waken baker. Sold enough weed to steadily use. I worked at Big Five. I helped my mom in and out of the hospital. I would babysit my sister's kids. Heartbroken bitch me, a reluctant family glue guy. Yeah, I smoked weed around the kids. But I promised to never let anyone hurt them, and didn't. Grandma and I were proud of that. Proud we rented the house outright, too. I would tell the kids it was less gross to bite your nails than to pick your nose. Those were our yo gabba gabba days. On the lady front, I had hookups and run-ins here and there. Nothing impressive. But in reality, I never got over Maria Elena. I found her on Instagram, wrote her a multi-draft edited heartfelt note, but she never responded. In her profile, she was all covered up, but I knew she looked good underneath it all. Maria Elena. I'd slow motion whisper to her screenshot, giving my mold-lined snow globe a shake. But yeah, coworkers sucked. Riding the bus sucked. Getting randomly jumped by high schoolers sucked. But above all else, living in my grandma's stenchy-ass pad de siempre sucked. At least for an ungrateful minute. Frijoles and oatmeal, coffee and candles. Pickups, drop-offs, crisis, back to normal. And then one day, my mom OD'd. She died. And I honestly still can't. To my heartbroken grandma, the house smelled like weed and cat. But we at least had each other. Had my mom's ashes. Her and me and my niece and nephew would chill watching TV with whatever family or friends would pop in. No AC? Popsicle time. Little Caesars? Why not? I came to understand we had our life. My brother, for his part, was locked up. My sister, for hers, was becoming my mom 2.0. But we would group hug her and beg her to live life with us, with some success. Snail shell metaphor. One day, my grandma ate a chopped up psychedelic mushroom I intended to use along with some onion and bell pepper for breakfast before a hike. She put it in an egg omelet for me and her. Tripped for 2 hours in the morning while I slept, and when I woke up said I didn't have to take care of her no more. She was fine, bro. But besides the fact that she was an old lady tripping balls, I never thought she thought I took care of her. I low-key thought I was a weed-smoking, freeloading piece of shit. In her really weird dream, I was a snail. I know, a fucking snail. How did she even know it was me? And that my shell was a galaxia. Her word. My soul a slug, slowly moving through that galaxy, but crossing the galaxy. Requete fast, but slow. Some months later, Grandma had a series of mini strokes and stopped talking. My tío, who had moved away from it all, stepped up to take care of her, and she was gone. My life is now a snail shell. No more beer bottles or snow globes. I understand life is fragile, very fragile, but it's also beautiful, harmonious even. I became the foster parent of my nephew and niece until my sister got her shit together. I learned to have a kid of my own. It was messy, but the kid looks like me, so there's that. I have come to love him, and I use all my uncle's skills to be a good dad. I was assistant manager at Big Five for a minute, but did go back to school. First at night, then full-time. Finishing my 7th year at a 2-year college. A much better student than these 18-year-old little shits who show up every year. I'm probably going to do social work to have a job right away, but my heart wants me to study astronomy. Shout out to Hi Grandma. Driveway metaphor. I wrote to Maria Elena again, and she wrote back. She thinks my snail tattoo is crazy, but randomly said she'd get one too. I've never felt so goddamn validated in my whole entire life. She's a single parent too, co-parents with what she calls a genuinely good guy, some skinny, tall, white dude she had been married to. She fell in love with him because he wasn't a macho. She divorced his ass because he was a macho. Her dad never liked him either. On a crazy 5-hour phone call, I learned her dad had been hurt himself. And that's why he was such a protective dick. And why he maybe saw legit red flags in a snowman muchacho like me. He hung around though, and has been there for his daughters and grandkid. So there's that, I guess. My grandma used to kill snails, leave egg snails around her plants to cut them up, but she'd also save them when they'd be in the driveway. Maybe all these years, I was a snail in the driveway of drunken, abusive, cosmic chaos, and have just slid off the last ouch of scratchy pavement because of the love of some old lady on one end, little kids I buy too much pizza for, and the hopes of an estranged high school sweetheart on the other end. My astronomy club is taking a trip to Utah to see the galactic night sky this winter, the Mayan ceiba tree. I know a bit about astronomy now and don't know much about Utah, but I feel like I'm at home now, in my for reals and forever home, in that I no longer want to jump out of my own skin. My life is full of leafy, dewy, and shady plants that will feed me, my boy, and my loved ones. Utah feels like a cool place to visit on the way to Idaho and to whatever other metaphors arise from there. So those are my lines. Here's to sweetheart ass slapping and to loving your loved ones.